Social Brand 15 is just around the corner, and in preparation of that, we wanted to take a moment with each of our speakers and ask them 5 questions. So first, and I'm borrowing from this speaker, first question being, who are you and what do you do?
Hi, Nick. I'm Mitch Joel. I'm the president of Mirum, a global digital marketing agency. I'm also the author of 2 books, 6 Pixels of Separation and Control Alt Delete. And I also have a blog and podcast of the name 6 Pixels of Separation. Happy to see you, of course, and really excited to be coming down and hanging out with you guys.
Awesome. And speaking of Control Alt Delete, that is recently in paperback, yes?
Trade paperback as of May, which is like, it's strange, right? Because they do hardcover and then they wait a year and do trade paperback as if that whole industry existed. But that is the strategy and how they do it. It's such a weird thing to me. But yeah, it came out in trade paperback, which is great because in the interim of Control Alt Delete, the hardcover in the first edition and the trade paperback, I actually changed companies. We went from Twist Image to Mirum. So it was nice to sort of have a president of Mirum on the cover of the book too. I got a twofer on that one. It was great.
Very cool. Very conveniently timed. Well, it's relevant to this audience because our VIPs at the event will get a copy of the new paperback Control Alt Delete with the correct title and company on the cover.
Exactly. Awesome.
So those VIPs also get to attend a special networking event with you before you kick off the conference with our opening keynote. And that brings me to our second question, which is, what are you talking about at the Social Brand Forum?
What are you talking about? Who agreed to all this? No, I'm very much looking forward to this, actually. I'm going to be bringing brand new content to your gang down there. And it's based very loosely, the title of the presentation, off of what will be my 3rd book, which has not begun writing. It's going to be called Algorithm, ALGORHYTHM. I got to get the spelling right, I think so, yeah. Not the real way you spell algorithm, but algorithm with the rhythm as the actual musical term in there. This new book and the presentation that I'm talking about is about this world of change that we live in. And I think brands and businesses look at it and think, well, it's too much. It's too overwhelming. It's too big for us. And I track a couple of really interesting things that happened actually by consumers, not by brands. And the main identifier that I'm trying to get people to understand is actually it's not a big change. There's actually all these little nuanced changes. And the real change that has happened is that consumers have become extremely comfortable with this idea of change, and they're changing and moving through things really, really quickly. So one big example that I'll really dive into with the audience is this idea that we moved as consumers from a place of ownership to access really quickly. Meaning we used to buy things like CDs and books and movies. And then we started paying to buy those books digitally. We would download them and we would have them on our hard drives, our tablets, our smart devices. We would get so many of them that we would buy external hard drives and supplies to sort of pass them over to. And then eventually, obviously, we have things like Netflix that now we're willing to pay for as consumers that we don't own. We own none of it. We just pay for it to have access to these catalogs. That's one of the sort of nuanced changes that consumers went through really, really efficiently that brands are still struggling with. And the macro idea is that if consumers have become so efficient with what they buy, with what they pay to have access to, with what they already own, how do brands actually think in this, what I call this age of efficiency? And that's the sort of enough of a tease. I'm not giving you any more because there's just gold in there, Jerry. There's gold.
Just gold. Gold. There is sufficient tease there. I am intrigued. So you were kind of segueing to it, but what excites you most for our third question here about marketing today?
Yeah, it's a tough question to answer because it's not like we're sitting in a day and age where we're blogging and doing podcasts and brands haven't jumped in. We're not sitting in a day and age where brands aren't listening and responding in social channels, and there are all these opportunities abound. What's got me most fascinated is just the sheer volume of it. Very recently it was announced that Facebook had over 1 billion people on the platform in a single day. And just if I think about what that connectivity means, it's almost in this world of what we thought was a place to go to has now become as ubiquitous as electricity and transportation. And so from a marketing perspective, what I'm most interested in is that idea of efficiency. So if we have programmatic, if we have brands actually bringing in these trading desks, if we have a world where anybody is creating content and doing a good job of it, what works, what doesn't work, what makes people connect, half-life, how long does this stuff last? And it's sort of like, I don't want to call it like a post-social world, because I know a lot of people are sort of playing in that space. It's not really about that. It's about how do businesses really become marketing driven versus advertising driven. And to me, these are the bigger challenges that not only is exciting to me and that I'm facing, but it's the stuff that I'm really pushing, the clients we work with at Mirum and just in general when I'm talking, because I'm pretty transparent about the two. It's not like one does something the other one doesn't do, about pushing that idea forward.
Awesome. So question 4, when I say Iowa, what do you think of?
Slipknot.
There you go. You know,
Is that good to say? I don't even like, actually, as you said it, there's no priming on this, so I didn't know what you were going to say.
There's not. No, well, that's, and that's, it's a great answer, one that no one else that we've spoken to has had.
Maybe Chris Brogan might say that. He might.
Yeah. Well, and that probably is, you're also seamless in your transitions, because question 5, I would presume that something fun that most people don't know about you would explain, or might explain why Slipknot was your name recall on Iowa.
I don't know if it's something people don't know about me. I'm pretty vocal about the fact that I love music and hard rock and heavy metal. What a lot of people may not sort of be following about me now is that if you love my podcast, 6 Pixels of Separation, in the past year-ish, I started a new podcast over at a place called notreble.com, which is the largest online media platform for bass players, even bigger than all the bass player magazines. And I've been doing a sort of version of 6 Pixels of Separation with bass players. And the idea is that a lot of these bass players talk about their gear and their techniques and all that sort of stuff. And I actually wanted to sort of do what I do on 6 Pixels, which is like really crack the nut open and deep dive into the creativity, innovation, artistry of what it means to be a bass player. It's been really successful. It's called Groove, the No Treble podcast. If you go to notreble.com, you'll find it right there. And it's been amazing. We've had, Robert Trujillo from Metallica has been on it, and just basically anybody and everybody's lined up to do it. So it's very exciting. So maybe that's something people don't know about me or should. I don't know.
Well, there are all kinds of places where you can go to learn more about Mitch Joel, including Social Brand Forum 2015, where you can register for VIP access, get a copy of Control-Alt-Delete, as well as access to a special networking event with Mitch and Mark Schaefer.
Just come hang out.
Come hang out. Have coffee.
We're just hanging out. Have some coffee. Yeah.
Awesome. You can learn more about all of that at socialbrandforum.com. Mitch, thanks for joining us today.
Always good to see you, Nick. Thank you. I can't wait to hang out with you too.
Awesome. See you in Iowa.